Welcome you all to my lecture series of machine learning. In this video, we are going to see the topic on k-means clustering. That is a topic comes under the clustering. So before going into that k-means clustering, first we have to know that what is a clustering. So clustering is an unsupervised machine learning method. It is used to group the similar data points into the same group and dissimilar data point into the different groups. So that is the concept of clustering. So what is the use of clustering means? The clustering, we are suppose you have a some set of people. We have to categorize the people in terms of different states means we can use that clustering concept. The types of clustering is we have the three types of clustering based upon the partitions and density and hierarchical. We are dividing into the three types of clustering. So the based upon the partition methods, we are the k-means clustering algorithm are used for the partition method clustering. That means use the centroid value. We have to find that particular cluster. Next is the density based cluster. In the density based cluster, the DB scan algorithm is used for the density based cluster. Next is the hierarchical clustering. The hierarchical clustering, the cluster is formed in terms of either a bottom up or the top down approach. So in terms of the tree structure, the cluster is formed. So this is the types of clustering. So in that video, we are going to see that what is a k-means clustering. That is the first type of clustering. That is a partition based clustering. So the k-means clustering, it groups the similar data point into clusters without needing any labeled data. So it is used to uncover hidden pattern between the data points and group the clusters. So what is the processing steps in the k-means clustering means we have to assign the number of clusters and find the initial centroid is assigned. So based upon that, the distance of object to centroid is calculated and grouping based on the minimum distance. So finally, after that, we have to check whether no object in the particular group means we have to finish the task. Otherwise, there is any new cluster is formed in terms of particular centroid distance based calculations. Again, you have to do the process continuously until there is a no new cluster is formed. So that is the process of k-means clustering. For example, consider the one example. In the k-means clustering, we have the one-dimensional and two-dimensional clustering is there. Now we will see what is in terms of one-dimensional data points, how we can group the clusters. For example, consider the data points 2, 4, 10, 12, 3, 20, 30, 11 and 25. So the cluster distance is calculated based upon the Euclidean distance. So already you know that what is the Euclidean distance formula. It is x2 minus x1 minus y1 the whole square plus y1 y2 minus x to the whole squared. So in that example, they are giving the initial centroid value is m1 is equal to 4 and m2 is equal to 11. So what is that means? So the centroid means that is a central point of cluster. So in our problem, we are going to do the two clusters. First one, what we have to do means we have the data points and initial centroid. For the initial centroid value, we have to calculate the Euclidean distance between the initial centroid and each data points. For example, in that slide, we have that tabular column. In the first column shows that data points. Next, we have the initial centroid value. Here we are using the two clusters. So cluster 1 centroid initial value is 4. The cluster 2 is 11. So from cluster 1 centroid value, we have to calculate the distance of each data points. Second, we have to calculate the cluster 2 centroid value for the each data points. So use the formula as here we are using the one dimension. So we are using x2 minus x1 the whole square. the root of x2 minus x1 the whole square. That is a formula is used to find the Euclidean distance. So the fourth column shows that the clusters, new clusters. So how we can find out the new clusters means, for example, in each data point we have to calculate the two centroid value. So that centroid value, which one has the minimum centroid value, that cluster name is assigned to the particular data point. Here 2 is assigned for C1, 4 is C1 and 10 is C2. So 12 is C2. So same way we are assigning. So after doing the process, next we have to find the new cluster value using the particular clusters. How we can calculate the new centroid value means, we have the clusters like the data points 2, 4, 3 and these are all belongs to the cluster 1. So it is a mean value of the new centroid value of cluster 1 is cluster 1 data points mean value, and the new centroid value of C2 is cluster 2 data points mean value. So same way we are calculating the Euclidean distance, and we have to find the new clusters. Now we have to compare the previous iteration cluster with the current iteration cluster. There is a deviation. So again we have to do the process. So that process is repeated until there is a no new form cluster object is generated. After that we have to stop the process. So finally, what is that cluster means? We have the two clusters. The cluster 1 contains the data points 2, 4, 10, 11, 12 and 3, and cluster 2 contains the data points 20, 30 and 25. So we have the 4 iteration in the particular process. So the new final centroid value is 7, 25. So this is the process of finding the cluster using the one-dimensional data points. Thank you.